if you had told me about a month ago that this year, to me, the most terrifying villain in a TV series would be a sheep, not sure I would have bought it. Although, what was the sheep's name? The goat, Black
Phillip.
Black Phillip.
From The Witch.
What
from Robert Eggers' The Witch.
Want?
There's a team up. Freddy versus Jason has nothing against Black Phillip and the goat.
And the eye goat. What dost thou want? What dost thou offer?
Live deliciously.
Oh, anyway. New episode of Alien Earth came out last night. And listen, we're coming off of to use an old phrase, a humdinger of an episode last week with my least liked trope, which is prequel episodes, flashback episodes, and it just rocked the world. So we come now back into this episode last night, had a lot to live up to, and it just got more into the philosophy until it got to the end. The whole metaphor of growing up. One of the things that I'm really starting to appreciate a lot about this show is how it's following the metaphor of Peter Pan. And it's as we go into each new chapter, them talking about it. I love the dynamic between Cavalier and the head of Weyland-Yutani. I love that sort of thing. I love getting more into the whole understanding the lore of the Five and the way the world is run at this point. But I'll just tell you what, when it got to the end and that poor dude, Anne was almost in tears. Like the stress level was so high. She was, oh my God, all of that. And to find out, you realize too, one of the things this show's done really well is that the xenomorphs are not the only dangerous things out there. We are talking about things that are not meant to cohabitate with us as a species. And there's so many different ways it can go wrong. And the delicious ways they've kind of been exploring that. So look, I personally quite enjoyed last night's episode. I don't think it was the best episode they did. I like the best one they did, I still think was last week's episode. It laid the groundwork for more things going on. The immortality of the hybrids, not so immortal. It's going to be really interesting to see the way they deal with that, the way they deal with the philosophical issues of how does the psychology of merging man and machine go and how can that break? And they've been exploring that a lot with Nibs, and I enjoyed that. So this thing gets serious. By the way, I wanted to point this out. Alien Woman herself, the queen of Alien, Sigourney Weaver, was asked yesterday about the new show. And she said this: it just exploded some of the themes that have always been part of the Alien series, and I think it's beautifully cast and beautifully done. I can't believe it's television, frankly. And she's right. I mean, they have just produced this thing on that kind of a level, so I'm looking forward to seeing where they're going. Again, I up until the end, I thought it was more of a groundwork kind of episode for things that are going to be coming. But guys, we want to thank the sponsor of today's episode, PrizePicks. Look, you and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right actually means you win. And with football back, there is no better time to get in on the action. You guys know I've been using PrizePicks for a while now, and it's honestly the most fun I've had engaging with the new football season already. For example, this weekend, I had Josh Allen throwing for more than 270 passing yards and Baker Mayfield having more than 2.5 passing touchdowns, and boom, I won on both. Building your lineups on PrizePicks is fast, simple, and honestly extremely fun. All you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and if you're right, you win. What's even better is that PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still win even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Plus, they've even got this thing called injury reboots, so if a player goes down in the first half, it won't count against you. And PrizePicks operates in more than 40 states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. So download the app today and use code CAMPEA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CAMPEA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Anyway, Rob, you had a chance to watch the Alien episode last night. How did you feel about it?
Okay. Everything you said, totally agree with. Totally correct. I find this show very compelling. All the ideas are very interesting, but this episode lost me.
Really?
And I'll tell you why. Because it turned everybody stupid. Like, in order to... here's the first thing. What's the name of the red-haired synth kid? Nibs. So here they have this whole scene. She's going crazy. The fact that she thinks she's pregnant in a world where aliens gestate inside your stomach, there was something going on interesting there. And so this the big bald British evil corporate guy's like, you have to take away her memory. You have to blank her memory. And then they do that.
Reset her to a certain
yeah,
point.
and one of our characters says no, and like, we're gonna end the marriage over this. And in the very next scene, they have Wendy talking about the very things that they erased from her brain, and she's going, I don't remember any of that. I don't remember any of that. We just did it. We went to the crash. You saw the creature going to the cat. And I'm like, okay, if you're going to erase a character's memory, how about in the next scene, you don't have another character remind her of all the things that you've erased from her mind?
In its defense, it wasn't the memory that was important. It was removing the trauma of what she experienced.
Right, of course. So but now
she's going to know that there was a missing gap of time there.
But they just have her reminded of it all. Like, how about not put them together for a while? You know, then this is the thing that really killed me. In the super secret biolab that has all the best technology, a door randomly breaks. The feeding door breaks. So then someone's like, uh-oh, I got to get in and feed these guys. And I know it's a kid.
It's a child.
But still, he's like, and this comes right off after Ryland, you know, after Timothy Oliphant says, listen, you follow protocol to the letter. Don't you deviate from protocol. He breaks the door, and then he walks inside to the chamber where the aliens are, because I have to feed him. I mean, I'm like,
it's what a child would do.
First of all, why does the door in this super secret lab have to break? You can't. Here's the thing. The original alien, even though they're blue-collar workers, they're all really smart. They come up with flamethrowers. Yaphet Kotto comes up with flamethrowers, tracking things. They're smart. These guys, even though they're workaday blue-collar guys, they are good at their jobs. What they don't know is that they're facing the cosmic infinitude of horrors that the universe has, that humanity, no matter what we do, you're effed. But in Prometheus, they made these really smart scientists really stupid. Hey, look, here's an alien cobra. Let me take it in my hand and look at it.
I know that.
I mean, and I don't.
But they weren't children.
And he sweet-talked it, too.
I understand, but even children know, perhaps I shouldn't go in where these evil creatures are. Now, I can't. That kind of plotting bothers me, because they don't have to do that. What they want to do is they want to unleash the mayhem. But you can unleash. I kept thinking about the movie The Andromeda Strain, where they have all these scientists and an alien, and they're in a super secret alien lab where they've got everything that happens is smart. Nobody does anything stupid, and still the threat grows. But in this, it's like they had a confluence of everybody being dumb. And I was like, I don't like that, because you don't have to do that. And then you've got Timothy Oliphant, Kirsch is looking at this, and he's watching this hell get unleashed.
He's got something.
He's got his own thing
going on.
And then he's like, how? And then Kid Cavalier is like, well, how is everything? Everything's good, right? Affirmative. You know, and you're just, I'm like, okay. This could be world-ending stuff if these creatures get out, and everybody's acting. I want to see smart people do smart things.
Okay, I'm gonna push back a little bit, and then I really do want to hear what you would have to say.
Because the ideas are great.
I want to hear what you would say to this, though. So to me, one of the major themes that underlies this whole thing is when we tread, and this is classic sci-fi, when we tread where we as humanity has no business treading. And one of those themes here is this whole brand new uncharted territory of trying to create this hybrid. What does it mean to actually have humanity within a machine? Right?
Yes.
And in this case, children, like a child. And what happens and what are the dangers and the repercussions? Like, for instance, I would propose to you that the door did not break. The kid broke the door.
Right, but they could have conveyed that better. That he's opening the door, and then, I mean, maybe they were supposed to be doing that, but
like a Jan, and then he not keep forgetting he's now in this android body. He breaks the door. Being a child,
but why are you putting child and android bodies in the middle of a biohazard lab?
But that's the whole
they're expendable,
thing, right? It's because I think you kind of nailed on one thing here. There is something that the rest of us have not figured out yet, because they haven't showed us yet. Kirsch has something cooking.
Yes.
And I have the moment he understood that the dude was communicating Toodles, communicating to Toodles, why did he not intervene right away? something's going on. He sees that he's trying to get this human into the alien, but he doesn't intervene. Cavalier asks him, is everything okay? Affirmative. He's got something cooking.
Oh, well, yeah, that's another trope of the Alien franchise, is that these synths, David in Covenant and Prometheus being the most, they don't care because what's happening, the mayhem that gets unleashed doesn't really affect them, although we did see what those bugs could do to a synth or a hybrid or whatever. But I do think that I don't like this kind of causal, simple plotting where I think you can do it in a smarter way, where they don't have to make, like, you can't tell me, like, erase someone's memory, yes, but don't make the next scene with her when it's so obvious, like, oh.
Because to me, it's not about the memory, it's about the trauma. And that they wanted to reset the trauma. So right, it's okay if she knows they
But it's also the fact that she's been tampered with, and I get all of that, but you have to make it so obvious. Like, it needs to be it just seems so.
I don't think it was something that needed to be hidden. I think to them it wasn't something that they're fine that Nibs knows they removed part of her memory because they needed to remove the trauma.
Well, they also don't, but they said, they make the point going, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's the point,
because
that's
the memory.
Theme.
Yes, no, I know, but the next scene is that it's like, in case you didn't know, let's delve into the fact that you've had your mind erased. And I would think that they don't necessarily, that's not maybe the best way. If you're doing an experiment and you're removing someone's memories, you don't necessarily want their memories to be triggered or tell that person right away that you've had these memories removed. I'm like, it doesn't seem like the scientific method is really being followed in this lab.
I don't know. I got to disagree with you just simply because of what I think for them the purpose was, and they don't see an issue with her knowing that they removed it. It, of course, becomes an issue for Wendy.
But I think that the executive doesn't think that, but the scientists are like, we don't know what's going to happen.
Right, but
we've never done that.
Given an order.
Yeah, I know they're given an order, but that's why does a corporate guy who's not a scientist come in and go, you need to do this because we have to have a we're rolling our new product out for the consumers.
I again, for me, I disagree. I found everything that happened in the episode completely in line with the philosophical dilemmas that they've.
Well, that's posing, different. Right? I mean, but I think the plotting to me was simplistic, and they just wanted to have all the mayhem break out. And I think that there's a better, because the philosophy.
It's like Jurassic World in that way, right? Like, okay, you can do this, and you think you're in control of it. But life finds a way.
But a candy bar blows into your door.
Well, like I'm glad you brought that up because you were talking about the door breaking. I'm like, come on, it wasn't like it was a candy bar wrapper getting stuck in a door. Like that was a different
kid,
level.
you know, you should be sending it like, hey, there's nobody. Why is the biolab left unattended ever? Like ever.
But that's the point. Kirsch has something.
Yes, yes, but yes.
I have a feeling that
but even that's like
those machinations are revealed.
He just wants all hell to break loose.
Well, and why? And I think once he does, it's going to shed light on a lot of other things.
Look, you know what they're going to have to do? They're going to have to nuke the site from orbit just to be sure.
Maybe.
That's how it's going to end.
Maybe. And that'll be the end of the Prodigy Corporation. We'll find out. All right, guys, question is for you. What did you think about last night's episode of Alien? Everything about it for me worked into terms of philosophy, but maybe you look at it in such a way that, you know, these plotting decisions could have been done in a much better, more effective way. However you guys feel about it, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.